Inside the last 90 minutes of the SportsMax zone for this Wednesday, the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association has announced its squad for the World Athletic Championship in Budapest, Hungary. The squad was announced during a press conference at the association's headquarters on Wednesday afternoon. Ricardo Chambers covered the event and joins us with the details. We did say at the top of the show that Ricardo would be connecting with us to talk about this story, which he covered this afternoon, which is why he is arriving on the show late. What's the biggest story coming out of the team being named, Ricardo? Is it that Rusheen McDonald misses out on an individual 400-meter spot as the #1 400-meter runner for Jamaica at the moment?
Well, just a correction, Lance. I'm not arriving late. I'm arriving right on time for this segment, which is the segment I was listed for.
But the show starts at 4:30.
Yes, but I was
you're usually on the show at 4:30.
But I was not on the show today, which you would have known from about 2 days ago.
But you are on the show right now.
Well, not full time today, just for this segment. So I'm very much on time. Your seat is rather high, by the way, Mariah.
Because I'm shorter. I usually have to stand it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't need to be this high for me. But yes, Lance, a few important things coming out of that press conference today. A 65-member team named by the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association. First of all, 32 men and 33 women named for the team. And it's a star-studded team, as one might well expect. But a lot of the discussions at the press conference today centered around Rasheen McDonald and his exclusion from the individual 400 meters. There was also a discussion around Shelley and Fraser Price, who has been listed for the 100 and 200 meters. Now, if you recall, well, personally, I did hear her say at the Nationals she would not contest the 200 meters at the World Championships and that she would only be doing the 100 meters. Lincoln Eatman, he is the chairman of the selection committee, and he addressed those two issues.
Advised that Shelley and Fraser is not going to participate in the 200 meters. We have not received that information. Regarding the 400 meters, Zandrian Barnes placed 6th in the 400 meters at the championships. He was the next best person after the first two who had the qualifying standards. He was next with the qualifying standard. And so he should have the opportunity to participate in the flat event as he performed at the trials and he ran the finals. Javon Powell, unfortunately, did not have the qualifying standards and so could not run the individual event. So he couldn't be selected as one of the 3 participants.
Okay, Ricardo, so to be clear, usually the top 3 would make the team.
Yes.
If all 3 make qualifying marks.
Yes.
Powell did not make a qualifying mark, even though he was 3rd.
Correct.
So he doesn't qualify to make this team. Rasheen McDonald has been the fastest 400-meter runner for Jamaica this year, by far.
Yes, and #3 in the world.
And #3 in the world. He did not compete in the finals. He ran heats at the Nationals.
He ran the heats, not the semifinals. He withdrew ahead of the semifinals from what I understand was because of injury.
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay, so why is this issue so topical? And on what strength would Rasheen McDonald's backers feel that he should be in this team as an individual runner?
Yeah, so Lance and Mariah, we have spoken about this issue on the show before. And as I said, it was quite a lively discussion at the press conference. I was largely the reason for the discussion being as lively as it was. I wasn't causing trouble. I was asking the questions that the public wants to hear answers to. No, you ask a very good question, Lance, because here's the deal. When you look at the rules as put forward by the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, they protect athletes who finish in the top 3 at the trials. So if you finish top 3, and once a medical exemption has not been given to someone in that event, and you maintain your competitive fitness, then the spot is yours. if you finish in the top 4 of the 100 and the 400 meters, you are entitled to be in the relay pool. By extension, the rules do not speak specifically to what happens if someone in the top 3 is unable to take up their individual position for whatever reason, whether it's injury or they have not made the qualifying standard, as with this case,
yes.
with Javon Powell. It does not speak specifically to what happens. Over the years, the general thinking has been that in chronological order, the next person from the final who has the qualifying time should get the spot. Right. So if 3rd is unable to take it up for whatever reason, then you go to 4th. If 4th is unable to take it up, then you go to 5th and so on, all the way down to 8th position. But if you look through the rules, it does not explicitly state that that is what should happen. I also quoted a 2016 case where Jason Morgan took the J3s to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, saying that he finished outside the top 3, but he had the qualifying standard, and I think the 3rd place didn't have the qualifying standard. He wasn't selected and felt he should have been selected. What the J3 said then is that if you are outside the top 3, your selection becomes discretionary. I am arguing, Lance and Mariah, that if your selection is discretionary by being outside of the top 3, then the person, in this case, Zandrian Barnes, who finishes 6th in the final, is not necessarily in a better position than a Rusheen McDonald who didn't get to the final.
Which is what Leighton was arguing when we had the discussion on the show.
I don't know if Leighton was arguing that. Yeah. I think Leighton was arguing that McDonald has run fast and he should be in the team, which is a different argument from what I am making now, and I want to make clear, because the argument that I am making now is a strong suggestion that the rules allowed for Rasheen McDonald to have been selected. No. Let me also be clear. It would have been a discretionary selection. And as we know, with discretion, it's all about essentially what you want to do. And
as it stands now, Zandrian's selection was discretionary.
Yes. And so as far as I'm concerned,
even though he's significantly slower than Rasheen McDonald.
Yes.
So that's the question, why?
And so what I was trying to put to the panel, to the selection committee, is that yes, I understand that Barnes was in the final, but given your rules, you could easily have selected McDonald, and so why have you not selected the athlete who is significantly faster? I cannot say I got an adequate response to that question, and so I moved on to the fact that Rasheen McDonald was not listed as an alternate. In fact, there is no alternate for the men's 400 meters, whereas you have an alternate for the women's 100, the women's 200, you have an alternate for the women's 400 hurdles, the men's sprint hurdles, the women's sprint hurdles. So why not an alternate for the men's 400 meters? Well, Lincoln Eatman was ready to answer as well, and so too was the J3's president, Garth Gale.
Again, we had the issue of Rasheen only running one round of the event. There was no medical exemption granted for him. We weren't told exactly why he never faced the starter for the second round.
Even to this day.
So
because an alternate can, invariably by the rules of track and field, create a situation that may affect that which we are seeking to protect.
I can't say I know what exactly the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association is seeking to protect, but for me, Lance and Mariah, what I want the association to understand is that the rules as they are now may not be written in a way that ensures that what they have done in this instance will always be done. Meaning, Lance and Mariah, if we became the selection panel next year, we could easily make a different decision with the rules as they are now. And therefore, if this is the decision that the J3s wants to make every single time, then the rules must be adjusted going forward.
So is it that it's just open to interpretation?
Which is the point I'm making. It comes down to interpretation, which means, I believe at least, you need to be more explicit in defining exactly what you want to happen.
Let me ask you this quickly, because Rasheen McDonald, number 3 in the world at the moment, by far the fastest Jamaican over the one-lap event, does not make an individual spot. I heard you say he's not in the relay pool either. He's in the mixed relay pool.
He is listed for the mixed relay pool, the 4x4 mixed relay. Of course, that event will be on the opening day of the championship. I suspect that there is always a possibility he could also run the men's 4x400, but as it is now, he is not in that pool of 6. He's only in the mixed relay pool. Also want to point out quickly that coming out of the press conference, Elaine Thompson-Hira is part of the squad. Pool. And yes, she is part of the women's pool. I did ask the chairman of the selection committee again whether they had reached out to Elaine Thompson-Hira to ensure that she actually wants to go to the World Championship, because she hasn't competed since the national championships, and we know that she's had issues this year.
What was their answer?
The answer was they have spoken to her, and they are confident that she does want to go to the championships.
All right. Well, we're out of time, Ricardo. I just want to be sure that we haven't left out anything important.
No, I think for the most part that is it. For the sprint relay pool, no Johan Blake, no Julian Fort, no Kishane Thompson. Those men have run 991, 999 and 1001 this season. Again, the selectors have gone with the top 6 from the trials, although they had the discretion of going with top 4 plus 2 others. They have decided not to do that. And they say one of the phrases they used quite a lot, they want to protect the integrity of the trials, which again is a large part of the reason they say that they went with Zandrian Barnes, who was in the 400 final over Rusheen McDonald, who only ran 1 round and did not go through all 3 rounds of the trials.
All right, Ricardo, thanks. We'll go to break now, back with the interactive segment after this.
Do I stay?